Hello, Fancy. Okay, we're on the second book now, In Search of the Little Green Valley by Grandmother Gentle Bear. And we last left off on chapter 2, where she had found the little green valley and was looking at all the abundance. The lean-to is a small and simple structure. It doesn't hold the heat in, but it keeps me dry and shaded on hot days and out of the rain. Once the cabin is built, I'll use the lean-to for an outdoor kitchen or a woodshed. It's also a good spot for an afternoon nap. Fire and shelter first. A nice flat clearing, not too far from the tree line and not too close to the creek or the lake in case of flooding, and not too far from watching animals coming to the water to drink. Oh, the tea is ready. The fire's going good and the water's boiled for tea and the lean-to is set up for the night. For the next many nights until the cabin takes shape. I'm not in a hurry. I'm here now, and the rest will be day-to-day life. Good shelter, wood stores, food stores, some hunting and fishing, a smokehouse, a garden, and a big wooden chair for relaxing and bird watching. Ducks nestling along the lakeshore leave their eggs for me, and they take to the water, and I take a few eggs, and I thank them by only taking an egg or two from each nest. Wild wheat flour mixed with dry powdered nettles and dry powdered greens makes a delicious green bush bannock. My days are filled with cutting and peeling small logs. The work is hard and rewarding, but each day brings the noisy neighbors in the form of squirrels and chirping birds. They're watching me work. Especially at meal times they're watching, hoping for some bannock crumbs, which I toss them if it's too old and dry. I'm now about 10 small logs high and planning the roof. It was going to be a full-on cabin roof, but I'm feeling my age and I think it'll be a lean-to roof. I'll have to change my plans. It's important to be flexible. The floor is dug and tamped down, and I have just enough grass to weave covers for the 3 small windows, one on each side and a small window beside the door. It's starting to look like home. Once the roof is finished, I'll cut out where the stone fireplace will be. Each day brings its own rewards, and each night my well-earned rest comes easy. Soon I'll move into the cabin. My father would be proud. After all, he was my teacher. He built many cabins, and I learned from him. I've hurt my hand. I fell on my wrist and twisted it into a sprain. I'll take today off. Light duties around camp, And there's plenty of tea and smoked fish and a bit of pemmican. I'll gather willows for a woodshed wigwam, another project to keep me busy and to keep wood dry for the eventual winter. My days are filled with work and rest and work. No hurry, but I do have a bit of a schedule. I feel alive. I don't want to say words like happy and fulfilled. Those are familiar feelings that keep me going and brought me here. But it's more. The longing for a simpler life and getting here in one piece instead of pieces. Poetry and tales swirling around in my head. I'll put them to paper someday soon. I changed my mind on where to build the stone fireplace. Near the back corner, with my bed behind the door, a small table and at the little window. And the lean-to roof instead of a cabin roof. And the cabin is almost finished. I've added some moss to the roof, and I'm ready to enter a doorway, the threshold to a new life in my new cabin in the woods. Chapter 4. Camp with Bears. Another day hauling stones for the fireplace. After hurting my hand the other day, I'll be a little more careful. There's been many animals that come by camp. Some stay a while, some watch me working or foraging, like cheeky squirrels, little Swiss tamia, also known as chipmunk, and birds of all types. Once I settle in, I'll have plenty of bird watching time and identify some of the regulars and seasonals. These little creatures of La Forêt have become my friends, and I wake each day with their songs. I'm careful not to leave any food out. Clean table, clean floors. Otherwise, I've got mice and squirrels running around for crumbs. Even the birds will fly in for a crumb on the table. I don't want them to think I'll feed them every day. The cabin is cozy, warm, and loving. My first couple sleeps inside had me tossing a bit. I couldn't see the stars. I couldn't feel the wind. I couldn't hear the forest. I had to adjust to being inside. I built a small wigwam smoker, and that way I can fill it up with dry wood. I'll smoke meat at the same time. Now I've got to get some meat to smoke. Dry meat, jerky, and it'll store for the winter and keep me alive and healthy, along with a few greens and some berries I'll pick later in the year. I spent most of my days outside in the wilds, foraging and drying for winter stores, hunting rabbits and fishing trout. Fishing trout at the mouth of the lake. My little smoker goes daily, and it's almost too small now. If I get a deer or a moose, I'll need a bigger smoker. There's almost enough smoked dry fish for winter stores. And I've collected plenty of rose hips, herbs, and berries all year long, thinking of the winter stores. I've built some small wooden boxes to store the dry goods and fish. And I've also weaved some baskets of grass, baskets of twigs, and of course birch bark. They'll hang in the cabin where it's dry, warm, and away from animals. Now it's time for a cup of tea. I slipped into a short nap with the birds singing in the background. It was a warm day, and the reeds on the windows were waving back and forth with flies bouncing off them as the breeze moved through. I pulled back the weaved mats for some airflow. I didn't cook in the cabin this time of year, so there was no smells or oils or anything to attract flies or other pests. It had been months since I put boots on my feet. Moccasins if I go into La Forêt, but around camp I'm soaking in Mother Nature through my feet and hands. I fall into a deep sleep and wake to my own snoring. Or was it? Was it something or someone outside, in camp, near the cabin? At first I could hear the tin wash basin being bounced around outside. I could hear heavy breathing and snorting. It's a bear. I must protect camp and the food stores. Most of it's hanging in the cabin rafters. I have to stand my ground, and we'll learn to respect each other and share this green valley together in peace. By the time I pulled the door open, he was gone. My knees were shaking and relief washed over me. I didn't want a confrontation. I thought I could just bang these two old pots together, yelling as well as I could. My throat was dry. I picked up the wash basin and looked around camp and beyond. Maybe the smoker still smelled like fish. Or maybe that old bear crossed this way every year or two, or a month or two. Maybe he will be back. I'll be a little more careful until we have our boundaries established. No bear scat in the area, and that's a good sign. And life continues to meander like the little creek, a comfort zone that comes from Mother Earth herself. A cup of tea is needed and a bit of smoked fish and some wild asparagus. Almost time to get the cabin fire going. Nights are cool, almost chilly in the little green valley. I'll do some more writing tonight and contemplate on that next bear encounter, and I'll keep a knife on my belt just in case. Misty fog covered the lake. Cool air through the night is fighting the temperature of the water. I stare in awe at the picture worthy of the finest art gallery. That is my daily morning view. The summer has aged everything, and hints of winter is not far away. The days are not as long as they were in the past few months. It's still hot during the day, but much cooler at night. And I'm okay with that. I feel ready for winter, but I'm still enjoying summer and all that comes with warm days, flowers blooming, and their sweet scent lofting in the breeze. We're on Chapter 5, Paddling Around. A cool swim in the lake has me refreshed and energized. I'll explore around the lake by canoe, a short day adventure of foraging and learning my way around the lake. I've been watching deer at the water's edge all summer, I see their silhouettes at dusk, a dark cutout against the last light of day. I'll be looking for signs in the bush that will help me for hunting, like nibbled willow branches, droppings, and bed-down spots in the long grass, and of course, foraging. My hand-woven basket is heavy with wild mushrooms, rose hips, sorrel, wild onions, and a small bunch of pine nuts from pine cones that the squirrels haven't picked out yet. I only take what I need. A little to eat now and the coming days, a bit for drying and a bit for storing. So many little mystical places on this lake. I just pulled onto shore directly across from camp. Wild blueberries on low branches are plentiful. And near the water's edge are small bushes of wild cranberries. Cloudberries sing out in a bright yellow hue, and Saskatoon berries are plump and purple, and I can't help but eat them as I'm picking with both hands. One handful for the basket and one to my mouth. I'm sure my teeth and tongue are purple blue by now. Time for a sip of tea from the flask, and maybe a short nap. Time is of no matter. My nap is ended with a snap of a twig. I slowly roll over to see 5 deer, 2 females and 3 young'uns. They're grazing wildflowers and new shoots of grass. I'm of no concern to them. I watch as they move across the meadow towards the creek. It's too early for fall hunting, but I'll be back when the season is right. I'll need meat for drying and smoking for the winter stores. I'll only harvest what I need. Time to head back across the lake, to camp, to home. I see the little cabin across the lake and it calls to me. It's good to get the paddle wet. I'll take more lake trips before the winter cold and the ice arrives. Paddling around the lake to forage and hunt rabbits gives me a sense of accomplishment and yet humbles me to the vastness of the wilds. The water enjoys the paddle, and a happy calm ripples across the water, and I hear the sacred drums. With each stroke and dip, the rhythm's tempo keeps time with the drums. And takes my memory and spirit to another place and time. A memory in my DNA that's joined by threads and ribbons and wakes me from an ancient sleep. I follow the spirits as they weave through the forest. Sounds of laughter and life, and the paddle pulls me to shore. Well, that was a good read, and we're going to finish there today. And we'll be back tomorrow with another reading of the Little Green Valley. Thanks for stopping by for tea and listening to the old stories. And we'll continue reading tomorrow. Remember to leave a comment. Maybe you have a story of your own to tell. Like and subscribe to keep this little channel going. And remember to always be kind to nature. And go out in the forest as often as you can.